Hello and welcome to another episode of the Six and Out podcast brought to you by Sports News Blitz. I'm Bilal, joined by Dejan, and this is the show where we talk everything cricket. Just over 4 weeks ago, we started off with 20 teams in this men's T20 World Cup, and it's come down to two. We've just had two thrilling semi-finals. First of all, Dejan, how are you? And if your heart wasn't pumping already and hyped, it sure is now.
Yeah. Yesterday, all different types of emotions. Yesterday, haven't had many games where I've experienced it, where you go from happy for about 5 minutes, then you're just upset, then you're angry and frustrated. But good thing is we got through. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I'm happy to just kick things straight off with the first semi-final that took place in Kolkata between South Africa and New Zealand. And for all the hype we gave South Africa, they end up choking once again. I mean, can we even call it a choke? New Zealand just come out all guns blazing and take down South Africa. What are your thoughts?
Their coach said it wasn't a choke, it was a walloping. I think he said something like that. But we look like the biggest pair of idiots. Like after everything we said in the last episode, that like New Zealand won't have a chance or anything like that. But I don't understand how South Africa screwed it up as much as they did, especially with the bat. I mean, you're letting a part-time spinner, well, not a part-time spinner, but you're letting like a spinner who's just come in the team in that McConkey. You get two of your top three out in his one over. And it's just from then on, it was like they struggled from then on. And New Zealand, all credit to them, they bowled brilliantly. And of course, we'll probably talk about the batting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're not on the same boat in terms of, I'm sure many experts or so-called experts had South Africa reaching yet another final, but it wasn't meant to be. But yeah, let's just talk about that first innings because I thought New Zealand's planning with the ball was exceptional. The way they sort of not give Markram too much of the strike in terms of giving away singles to put pressure on guys like de Kock, Rickleton. And as you mentioned, the matchup with McConkey to the left-handers, that proved dividends. And it seemed like South Africa couldn't recover after they went 2 down early on.
Well, we thought that Eden Gardens was going to be like a very good batting track for South Africa, especially with a lot of their players, they're good players, the short ball and everything. But I think starting with spin, it was a gamble. But I think it obviously worked. But, de Kock, that's happened all tournament. He struggled against spin all tournament, especially at the beginning. And so it was a masterstroke from Santner to bring him on. And their players just couldn't really recover from it. They were really struggling on the Eden Gardens track. And New Zealand, all credit to them, they bowled brilliantly. I thought Santner's use of the spinners with obviously Ravindra as well as, himself, getting the likes of Lockie Ferguson to bowl 4 overs, probably one of the standout bowlers. Thought Matt Henry obviously bowled really well, and even himself, going for 25 runs in 4 overs, and for them to only get 170, as I said, it's a really good bowling effort against what we thought was probably the strongest batting lineup in the tournament.
Yeah, we saw the way South Africa recovered, being 20 for 3 against India in that game in Ahmedabad. We thought maybe we could see a similar situation, but even with New Zealand dropping a few catches, you think, okay, maybe someone like a Miller is going to punish them. Yeah. But it was just the South African bats just never looked set. It was only until Marco Jansen towards the death, which got them to a respectable total, which probably didn't even matter in the end. But in terms of the batting, was it a case of just the player just reading to sort of failing to read the nature of the surface? Because we did see the ball did stay low at times with pace and spin. Or is it a mental thing? Or what was the reason why the South African batters struggled?
Well, I think a lot of them kind of gave their wicket away. As I said, de Kock and Rickleton in back-to-back deliveries to do that, it's not great. And then I look at Brevis. Obviously, he batted pretty well. He batted decently, but then kind of chipped it to cover. It's a soft dismissal. Miller only just got dropped, and then he tried to go for it next ball and held out. I really felt like a lot of them kind of just gave their wicket away, and then Jensen didn't just provide the stability, obviously accelerated as well, but he didn't try any exuberant shots or try and slog. he just played quite sensible attacking cricket, which benefited obviously South Africa, but as I said, it just a lot of the others really struggled.
Yeah, I think it was a very good toss to win for New Zealand, bowling first, because we did see the pitch sort of quicken up in that second innings. Maybe there was a bit, I don't think there was as much dew as in the India-West Indies game, but it did quicken up. And I mean, we'll move on to the New Zealand innings. I mean, there isn't much more to talk about than Finn Allen, 100 not out of 33 deliveries with a strike rate of over 300. Bonkers, right?
I didn't really know what to say like watching it because when you got to 170, I thought to myself, South Africa still might consider themselves the favourites as long as they get the two openers out, because then as we talked about, that New Zealand middle order haven't really been great in this tournament. It's been their two openers, but yeah, fair to say they didn't get them out early. They didn't get the two openers out because he didn't even get much of the strike at the beginning. Finn Allen, it was kind of a lot of Tim Seifert at the beginning, and then he just, as soon as he got the strike, he just went for it, and it was just, I couldn't believe what I was watching. Every 5 minutes, they scored like I think 80 odd in the power play, and it was like you turn around for like a minute or so, you come back and he's added another 15 runs, and I just couldn't believe what I was watching, and South Africa just had no answers whatsoever.
Yeah, I think he was something like 55 off like 23 or 22 or something like that. And then he added another 45 off like 12 balls. Yeah. So it absolutely mental acceleration to sort of them take them over the line in 12.5 overs. So
he did it with cramp as well.
Yeah, cramp. Straight from the Glenn Maxwell playbook.
I know.
But I mean, we talk about catches and taking catches. That De Kock Brevis sort of chance where it's skied in the air and then I mean,
that happened. It was at the 2015 World Cup where I think it was Grant Elliott who had that same one, and they kind of chased after it and they couldn't take the catch.
Yeah,
I just think for South Africa, if they ever come up against New Zealand like in a semi-final, just accept defeat. Like they're just a bogey team. It happened in the World Cup in 2015.
Yeah,
it happened in the Champions Trophy last year. It's happened this year when I don't think anyone expected New Zealand to win. So yeah, if I'm South Africa, just try and avoid New Zealand as much as possible, and you might be all right.
Yeah, maybe don't win all of your games, but
yeah.
Funny statistic is South Africa before this match were actually 5-0 against New Zealand in T20 World Cups, but in World Cup knockout matches, New Zealand were 3-0 against South Africa, as you mentioned, the 2015 World Cup, 2025 Champions Trophy as well. So yeah, when it comes to knockout games, New Zealand just have that edge, and I don't know what else there is to talk about. In terms of the South African bowlers, then, do you think they could have done anything different, or was it just Finn Allen just going berserk and no bowling attack could take him down?
It's probably just the latter. It's hard because, as I said, the likes of Ngidi and Janssen, and obviously Bosch and Rabada, they've had really good tournaments. They really have. And South Africa bowling-wise have been one of the best teams, along with their batting. But it's hard to stop them players. It's hard to stop players like that when they're batting like that, and they're just going for everything. But as I said, I'll just go back to it, man. We look like absolute idiots. Absolute idiots after everything we said. But I still just can't believe it. Like, it wasn't just the fact that New Zealand just barely scraped by. They absolutely dominated the game. And they dominated South Africa. And I don't think anyone would have expected New Zealand to be in the final, considering some of their performances in this tournament. But yeah, all credit to them. But if they go and win the tournament, then they've proved a lot of people wrong, including myself.
Yeah, you could have said it better. I mean, just on the South African front, we talked about how good they've been in the power play with both bat and ball, and it feels like that's where the match was lost in both innings. Sort of slowish start with the bat, and then in the bowlers. I mean, I've always got soft touch for bowlers, but I mean, Janssen, 2.5 overs, conceding 53 runs with an economy rate of 18.71. Corbin Bosch as well, 2 overs for 35. It's just like none of the bowlers could get going. Maybe Rabada was standout, but is it really standout when Finn Allen's going as hard as he is?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said it like with them two openers, and I've said it the entire tournament. If you can get them two openers out early, then you've got a very good chance of winning because, as we said, the middle order has struggled. But unfortunately for South Africa didn't do that. And once they didn't do that in the power play, their game was pretty much gone.
Yeah. more statistics as well. Finn Allen moves up to third in terms of the leading run scorer, 289 runs. If he scores 100 against India, he'll overtake Saibzada Farhan, but I'm sure you're not wishing that. And Tim Seifert as well, he's moved to number 6 as well. So as you mentioned, it's the openers who hold the key, and yeah, that's the reason. That's probably the reason why they've made it to the final.
There's not much to talk about, is there, from that game? It was just so one-sided. It was like...
Yeah, I had like extra half. I didn't know what to do with the extra half an hour. It was like, the game's over. So it's like,
yeah,
okay.
that's just we were just. I don't think, as I said, I don't think anyone would have expected it. But again, full credit to them. They made the final. They've shut me up massively.
Yeah,
So.
I did sort of feel bad for Temba Bavuma who's on commentary. It's almost like he wanted to cry. It's like, but no, I think for the South African team going forward, they've got very good future. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Their talent is so stacked, and they can look forward to. They've got a big summer coming up in the winter. Well, our winter, their summer, where they play Australia, England, Bangladesh, and preparing for that ODI World Cup. So, I guess not all doom and gloom.
Yeah, just avoid New Zealand in tournaments, you'll be fine. I think that's the plan.
Yeah, if they match up in 2027, I'm going to keep an eye for that anyway. So, moving on then. Another semi-final that just took place yesterday between India and England at the iconic Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. Oh, I'm out of breath, literally just wanting to speak on it. But a run fest in Mumbai. Talk to me. What are your thoughts? India prevail.
Still stressed thinking about it now, but at least we got just relieved. That's what the main thing is, just relieved. Yeah, I don't... To score 253 and to nearly lose the game, that would have been an almighty bottling from us. Especially with the fact that we got the top 3 out quite early. But I'm sure we're probably going to talk about Bethel's innings, how good it was. But as I said, I've been waiting all tournament for India to kind of play that aggressive cricket. And, again, Abhishek failed again. Becoming less of a surprise now. But I've been expecting that aggressive cricket all tournament. It's not been there, and it was really good to see that we got that right. We got it in the semi-final, going into a final. I hope now that a lot of players could take confidence from that and continue that in the final. And if we do that, hopefully, we go back to back in the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, as you mentioned, apart from Abhishek Sharma, the rest of the top 7 had a strike rate of above 170. So, as you mentioned, that aggressive sort of free-flowing nature really came to play on at the Wankhede. Once again, I want to talk about Sanju Samson because I feel like this guy, he's come in and the last 2 games, he's sort of taken the opposition bowlers by the scruff of their neck. Just those shots he's played, the way he looks so composed at the top of the order. It's like the one person that Indian fans didn't know that they needed at the top, and he plays another exceptional knock after being dropped.
Yeah, I think he grabbed Harry Brook by the scruff of the neck as well. He probably told him that if you drop the catch, because that game genuinely could have been completely different, and we might have not got through. But yeah, he's a special talent. I've said that for a long time. It's just been frustrating for many years because, again, he's got that much ability. And I look at him so many times and think to myself, what ability? But he's never been able to make that transition to international cricket as much as you've seen in the IPL. But it's really good to see that he's done it. And done it in 2 big games where India needed to win both. And, when he bats like that, he makes batting look like the easiest thing in the world. Like, he barely like slogging anything. He just every ball just comes out the middle of the bat. Whether he's like defending it, whether he's pushing forward for a single, or he's playing an aggressive shot. Yeah, he just makes it look effortless when he bats like that. So, all quality.
Yeah, I think one thing about him is the way he picks up length, and he's able to score at pretty much all parts of the ground, like through covers, straight down the ground, over cow corner. It's just like. I think, I don't know who it was, but someone said on commentary, it's almost like Rohit Sharma, like the stillness and the way he's just able to just time it every single time, no matter the length, the line. I mean, 89 runs or 42 balls, 8 fours, 7 sixes. I mean, as you mentioned, he definitely punished England for dropping that catch. And that partnership, particularly with Ishan Kishan, that sort of like, especially after an early wicket, it can never be easy. Going at the rate that India did. So just how important was it to sort of have the cameo from the likes of Ishan Kishan, Shivam Dubey coming up at number 4, and the rest of the batters as well?
Well, it just carried on the acceleration. That's all. That's all it pretty much did. As I said, he dominated against Sanju dominated against Jofra Archer very early on. Obviously until the drop catch. Obviously until the drop catch. Even after the drop catch, he just took him down and teed off. But then other bowlers as well, the likes of Will Jacks and Rashid and Dawson and stuff, spinners, which in the past, especially in these kind of games, spin's always troubled India in these kind of games with these performances. But I think sending Dubey up the order was a good decision because obviously he's a much better player of spin, and we saw that yesterday. And yeah, what all them innings did, it just provided that acceleration, which allowed us to get to 250. Because if we had a couple of overs where we kind of 3 or 4 overs where we just consolidated after the start we did, and we made a 220, 230, we probably would have lost that game. Could have lost that game. But I think having every single player play that way and having that acceleration, Hardik finishing off the innings, Dubey obviously doing very well, Ishan Kishan, Surya, even Tilak 21 on 7. It's just provided each little cameo just kept India going to a big score, which is all you can ask for in T20 cricket.
Yeah, I thought bringing Shivam Dubey to number 4 sort of forced England's hand to sort of bring back paces earlier than they should have, because Dubey is really good against spin. And keeping spin at the death, I mean, me and you, we both hate it when it's like, oh, why would you save your spinner to the end when they're just going to get smashed around? But yeah, I really thought in terms of the selflessness from Surya Kumar to sort of allow Shivam Dubey to be ahead of him. So yeah, I think that was the key, and just allowing, as you mentioned, allowing India to score that extra 10, 20 runs, which ended up becoming pivotal in the end. But just on the England bowlers front, I mean, Jofra Archer, it wasn't his day. There seems to be something about playing against England, especially in white ball matches, that was it a case of that his confidence was sort of lacking after that drop catch, and then he just didn't really recover, and then he failed to stick to his strengths, and then just bowling all over the place? Or was it a deeper issue?
I think it was just the length he was bowling. I don't really know why he did it. Look, he's been outstanding in the power play in this tournament when he's just bowled pace and he's got it full, and that's why he's caused so many problems. But against Sanju, I don't know whether it was his decision or a captain's decision or a coach's decision. He just bowled short.
Yeah,
And
I don't.
with the form that Samson's in right now, how quickly he's picking up length, he's able to just use the pace and hoik it around the corner. And then he was trying those slow short balls, which dug him into the pitch and bowled slower. And Sanju was just waiting on it and just hit it nearly out of Wankhede. So I think Archer just got his length completely wrong, especially up front. And then at the end again, he did this kind of the same in his last over to Tilak, where he bowled 2 kind of length deliveries and he got hit. And I said he should just bowl Yorkers, and he bowled a Yorker and bowled him. So I don't know. I don't know whether it was his decision or someone else's decision, but he should have just kept it full. I don't know why he kept dropping it short and bowling slower balls. That's not really been his strength at all in this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do it for Janssen. I did it for Janssen, so I'll do it for Archer. I mean, figures of 4 for 61 with 1 wicket, economy of 15.25. It's just that's the difference in the end. I mean, no one had everyone had an economy over 10. Jackson Rashid did well to make things probably less ugly than it could have been.
Yeah.
But with the paces, and Sam Curran, who England have relied on at the death, he just didn't turn up at all. I mean, I felt like with Sam Curran, he was trying way too much. That, as you mentioned, not sticking to a set. I mean, with Curran, he bowls really like good wide Yorkers, slower into the pitch, but it was so erratic. Regardless of the length of the line as well, it was all just set up for the Indian batters to finish the way they did as well.
Exactly, and that's the thing about Wankhede as well. It's always been one of those pitches where if you bowl short, obviously there's a decent bounce, so there might be advantage of that. But it's also one of those where it sits up so well for batsmen. It always has, and that's why I didn't understand the plans of Archer and Curran as well when they bowled short balls and took the pace off.
Yeah.
To the likes of Samson and others, they were just waiting on it, and they had so much time to just swing through the line. So Yeah, I think they could have planned it a lot better in terms of if you're going to play at 1KD and you're going to stick to that plan, you have to execute it really well. Otherwise, you're going to end up happening what happened, which just meant that the ball was just sitting up perfectly for everyone.
Yeah, and so India post 253 for the loss of 7 wickets in their first innings. And England, in reply, they didn't get off to the best of starts. Phil Salt going early, Harry Brook going early, and then Joss Butler as well. In fact, England were actually down 64 for 3 inside the power play. So even though they scored big, you felt like the wickets, it was just like, it ultimately fell too much, but that early wicket sort of did set the tone initially for India.
Yeah, as soon as I saw the first over went for 13, I just kind of just kind of rolled my eyes back. I was like, oh, here we go. And then Hardik got Salt out first ball, and then Harry Brook got out, and Axar Patel's catch off Harry Brook is unbelievable. And it obviously we'll probably talk about India's fielding now, but it's very important that India stepped up in the field because the way they've fielded in this tournament has been awful. We've been horrendous in the field in this tournament.
Yeah.
But yeah, thankfully we got it right on the big day. So hopefully we could take that into the final and carry on this kind of fielding performance and this kind of aggression in the final, which is needed. But going back to the game, yeah, it was important to get those early wickets because you never know if that catch wasn't taken, Harry Brook stays in. We saw what he did against Pakistan.
Yep.
There's a very good chance, again, we could have maybe been on the receiving end of a loss. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, just more on the catches. I mean, they're the worst team in the Super 8 in terms of fielding and catches. 13 catches dropped, which India, a team that prides itself on its fielding, is shocking, with a catching efficiency of just over 70%. The worst out of the Super 18. But yeah, as you mentioned, they turned up on the big day. And Axar Patel, he didn't just take one catch, he took 2 catches. As we move on to, because
technically not.
Oh, sorry, yeah, but no, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but I want to give that to him because the way Bethel and Jax were going, things could have got scary. Yeah. But just on Jacob Bethel, I mean, he sold the lone warrior in the end. 105 runs of 48 deliveries. Just like Samson, actually, 8 fours, 7 sixes. He almost broke Indian hearts.
Yeah, as soon as I saw he hit them 3 sixes off, I think it was Chakravarti.
Yeah.
And then he hit that reverse sweep one, and then it went for 6. I was like, okay, he's going to have one of those days then. And then everything came out the middle. Everything came out the middle of the bat. And he just, a full credit to him. How old is he now? He's
22.
22 years of age.
Yeah.
And he's performed in the Ashes series and he performed here. What I love about him so much is obviously he's supremely talented. We can see that.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, in yesterday's game, backs are against the wall. No one's expecting you to do it. He fights, he works hard, and he gets the runs. In the Ashes series, when everyone's just gone, the entire England team's gone, he goes and scores 100. I admire him so much because he seems to have a mentality, and he reminds me a lot of Kevin Peterson, where he has the talent to obviously do it, but he says, if our team is struggling and we're against the wall, I'm going to fight with fire, and I'm just going to go all out, and I'm going to put the pressure back on you. And he just looked absolutely unbelievable yesterday, and it was annoying to watch, but it was also great to watch because it's really good to see a young player like that perform at a big stage.
Yeah, and he's definitely one for the future. In fact, he is the youngest English batter to score a century in ODI, Tests, and T20 internationals now, all within 6 months as well. So he's definitely got a bright future in all the formats. But yeah, I mean, just on whilst Bethel was out there, I thought Tom Banton, if he could have just stuck in, because he hit 2 back-to-back sixes off Axar. Yeah. And then, to be fair to Axar, he adjusted his line. He went a little bit fuller. Yeah. He looped it a bit more as well. I just felt it's so unnecessary to go for that third 6. And I know the required run rate is going to be around 14, 15 and over. Yeah. And England did well to manage that, given the circumstances early on. But you just think, if Banton would have just stayed in, if that catch goes down...
But it's
moments. It comes down to moments, doesn't it?
But every single time there was like a wicket, there was still like 2 3 sixes in the over.
Yeah.
And And everyone was celebrating the wickets and stuff, and I was like, no, you can't be celebrating yet because they're still going, they're still scoring
Yeah,
big runs in the over. They're still hitting the required run rate. I still think bowling wise, we weren't great. I think we were, when it came to the pressure situation,
yeah, the death
we
bowling.
did well.
It was,
We did
yeah,
well, but Chakravarti, man, I'm sick. I'm getting sick to death of him. I'm not being funny, like, and not in a disrespectful way, but just since the Super Eights,
poor.
he can't land two balls back to back in a good area. He can't do
Yeah,
it. Like one for 64, 64 runs in 4 overs. That's worse than Archer, I think.
mm,
So it's just he's the number one ranked T20 bowler in the world, and he can't land two balls back to back in a good area. It's just I just don't understand. It was too full, went down the ground for six, too short, pulled. On the pads, swept. It just couldn't land two like a good couldn't land any consistency, have any consistency whatsoever. And it was so poor to watch because it was so frustrating to watch because just as it felt like we were getting a good over together, he comes on and he goes for 16 and over. So it's just annoying. But at least we got the win. But a decision's going to have to be made in the final to either stick with him or go with Kuldeep. And I genuinely consider going with Kuldeep for the final, but I don't think they will because Kuldeep's only played one game all tournament.
yeah. I don't know what it is, and I want to know what you think because with Chakravarti, he sort of likes to get that top spin like on the ball, and as you mentioned, it can be harder because the way with his action as well, he almost likes to drift it in as well. So as you mentioned, it can be difficult to bowl it in that good length area. I don't know because it's so strange because he was so good in the group stage and then prior to that as well. So it's almost like he's just stopped bowling
Yeah,
well.
but like it's all well and good having all the variations, all the
Yeah.
the mystery spin that he has. If you can't put it on a good line of length, it doesn't mean anything.
No.
If you keep pitching it short, the likes of Bethel and Jacks, they're just going to keep going over mid wicket for six. If you get it too full, they're just going to go down the ground. And it was every single time I was watching him, I just thought to myself, all right, here's another 16 run over. Here's another 20 run over. He just couldn't find any consistency whatsoever. And he's not found any consistency since the Super 8s began. So, as I said, a decision is going to have to be made for the final. Because he can't be bowling like that against the likes of Finn Allen and Tim Seifert. And even against New Zealand's middle order, we have a go at New Zealand's middle order saying they're not great. If Chakravarti's bowling like that, they'll all score 100.
They'll all reach Finn Allen strike rate.
Yeah, exactly.
But there was that sort of period where Chakravarti and Axar were bowling in tandem, and it felt like okay, England they're getting ahead of the game.
Yeah.
But I think it was Axar's third over. He actually kept things in check.
Yeah, he did.
And then after that, I think they held off Chakravarti, and then I forgot who came back. I think Arshdeep came back in. We bowled those three wides, and then Jack's
Got the
hold out
wicket,
to yeah. So I think the planning was good from India, and the spinners they almost threw the game. That's all I'm going to say.
As I said, I genuinely would. I've said it like I've talked to myself like a few things about the game and stuff. I genuinely could have given Axar. I genuinely think I would give Axar Patel man of the match just for his fielding as well as the third over as well to close it down. But the catch off Will Jacks, genuinely, I don't think we haven't talked about it enough. The catch off Will Jacks.
No.
It's unbelievable athleticism. To as soon as I saw it, I was like, "There's another six." And then the way he's running and stuff, and then catches it, and then have the wherewithal to throw it, to parry it. It was unbelievable to watch. And then his third over, as I said, he only went for I think 8 or 9, and in that situation, that's perfect. So I genuinely would give Axar Patel man of the match just for them two things.
Yeah, I mean that catch was actually exceptional. I mean the ball it didn't even go up in the air. It was flat straight to the point region, and the way it's just instincts. The way he just quickly parried it. I think it was at Dubé there to catch it. It was exceptional. But I'm down to give him man of the match. But I think they did end up giving it to Sanjay Samson for that.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think it's one of those where England all tournament, despite maybe not playing well, decisive moments has won them the game. Whether that's somebody bowling, Will Jack's bowling or Will Jack's batting. It just seems
Yeah.
like Will Jack's. It always seems to be in the headlines for something. But pressure situation, India played it so much better, especially in the field, because England in the field, obviously not just a drop catch, didn't feel great. A lot of times, they misfielded and they allowed India to get an extra run. And in this situation, we showed every run mattered, and England probably could have saved 10 or 15 runs for their ground fielding alone. They could have saved about 70 runs if they'd taken the catch off Sanju Samson. But yeah, it shows you how important fielding is, and thankfully India got it right after a poor tournament. But England just wasn't good enough in the field.
Yeah, I just want to conclude on Jasprit Bumrah, because the way he came back in, they were showing the score comparisons at each stage, and England were ahead up until that sort of 14th, 15th over. And then when Bumrah came back for his two, I mean, to have an economy rate of 8.25 in a game where 250 is the par score, I mean, he's like Mr. Clutch for India, isn't he?
The thing is, I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, it's just, I don't know what to say. What do I say about somebody that... What do I say about Bumrah that hasn't been said before? He's just that good. When it got to about 10 overs and England are starting, and Bethel and Banton and others are starting to go for it, I'm still thinking to myself, okay, we've still got 2 or 3 overs of Bumrah, so we should be all right. And then for your final 2 overs to go for 8 runs and then 6 runs, like that's gold dust. That's gold dust in this. And I genuinely don't know what to say about him that hasn't been said before. He's just clutch. He's just that clutch player. I've got a statement about him which I'm gonna save till after the tournament. Ended. But it might be an unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna save that till after the tournament, because I don't want to jinx anything at the final. I'm a very superstitious guy. I don't want to say anything and then proper jinx it for the final. But regardless of if we win or lose, I will say my opinion on him fully after the final. But it's 33 runs in 4 overs at an economy rate of 8.2. For your final 2 overs to go for 8 runs and then 6 runs, that's the game right there, because it means that everyone else has to. It means that Bethel and Sam Kerr and others, they have to go after the other batsman.
Yeah.
And Hardik bowled an outstanding 19th over. Considering the first ball went for 6 to only go for, I think, 9 runs and take a wicket. Hardik bowled an out, and it basically just gave Dubé the win. And it just went, you got 29 runs to defend. You pretty much won.
He almost bowled that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you use that 20 off 3, and he bowled that wide. I just thought to myself, you absolute idiot, what are you doing? But yeah, as I said, it's usually the job of the bowler bowling the 18th over and the 19th over to defend it for the 20th over. And, Bumrah and Hardik bowled outstanding overs.
Yeah, it instantly brought me back to Barbados, that final, where India defended 30 of 30, was it? Or 30 of 30?
Well, again,
31 of 30?
That was Bumrah there again.
Yeah, and that catch as well, with Surya Kumar, similar to what happened yesterday.
Yeah,
Dubé as well. So,
but that's what I mean about Bumrah, man. He does it every single time India need him. That's why every single tournament you ever watch, every single test series you ever watch, every single match you ever see, where he is bowling, and you see everything about him, economy rates, wickets, he's always at the top there. And that's why he's that good. And that's why he's been that good for so long. Because it's become standard to this point, where we're taking it for granted, where it's a 250 run chase, and you go, oh, Bumrah, oh yeah, economy rate of 8, gets a wicket as well. Gets a wicket off his first ball, just like standard. And that's the best credit you can say about him, that every single time there's a match or something, you expect Bumrah to do that, because he's done it for that long, and he's that good. But as I said, the statement I will say about him, I will save till after the tournament.
Okay. Just moving on to England then, and just on Bumrah, I do think if India are going to win, it'll come down to him. It always does. But just on England then, just on Jos Buttler, do you think he's played his last ever T20 international for England? He's at the age of 35 now. He's had a poor showing all tournament. I do think the hands are not as fast as they were. What future do you see for someone like Josh Butler?
It's hard. It's hard because again, he's such a talented player, and he's such a good player. You know, I'll be very interested to see him in the IPL, see how he performs in the IPL, and see if he's if he is the same Butler that we've seen in the IPL for a long time. But what was interesting, right, in that innings, because I thought chasing a big score would actually help him, just allow him to kind of just cut loose and just be himself. But he wasn't watching the ball at all. He's just kind of swinging from the hip, and it's not really what you associate with Josh Butler, because I know he's a very aggressive player and stuff, but again, he's somebody that he consistently scores runs because he's very watchful. And if you're a very innovative player like he is, you have to be very watchful. But he's just not watching the ball. I think he had about 8 plays and misses before he got out, because he's just kind of swinging from the hip and he's like not even looking at anything. And there was a shot that he played where he tried to scoop, I think it was Hardik, and like
it hit him on like the shoulder.
It hit him, and it's just kind of like his attitude with that shot. It just looked like he wasn't really interested.
I mean, that's what happens when you're not in form. You sort of want to. You try to be a bit too innovative, and sometimes it is best just stick to basics. But I think the basics weren't working, so I think he sort of felt, given the score that India put on as well, he had to try something different. And in the end, I don't want to say, but he probably chewed up a bit too many balls than he should have.
Yeah, he might have. I don't know whether I can say he's going to play his last game. I probably don't think he will. I think again, he's like a lot of players like him who maybe aren't in the best of form. You know the talent they have, and you know how good they can be. The IPL is going to be very interesting to see where he is at mentally, and if he has a very good tournament, I can confidently say he'll play more for England. But if not, then questions will start to be asked more, because he hasn't had a good tournament, and Salt hasn't had a great tournament either. And so them two for England, if them two had better tournaments, then England probably would be, I'd say, the favourites to win it.
Yeah. It is strange with Butler because since he was stripped off the captaincy after the 2025 Champions Trophy, you thought his form, you thought that there'll be less pressure. I mean, he's doing well as captain anyway. But apart from a few good innings in the English summer, it hasn't really been anything of note. So maybe it is a sign of decline. But yeah, as you mentioned, I do want to see Butler maybe just get back to his best, because I know the focus will shift towards the ODI World Cup. So maybe playing in a longer format, that could sort of settle him down. Him playing in that middle order as well. So yeah, in terms of T20, it is weird, definitely.
Well, it's a weird one because all summer, and basically just for the last year, when I've seen him bat at 3. He's been kind of number 3, and then they've kind of just shifted it for this tournament.
Yeah,
as an opener, and sometimes a positional shift can be a problem because it's a different kind of situation you're having to play. So I don't know. I think for me, I'd get him back to number 3. I know Harry Brook has obviously played well in that position, but I'd get him back to number 3, just kind of try and get him back to Josh Butler that we've seen in the past. And I think if you do that, especially with the 50 over World Cup coming, and you get him in form for that, it will boost England's chances to win that tournament by a long way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But yeah, unfortunate for England, yet another semi-final defeat at the hands of India. But moving on then, this Sunday, the ultimate finale, India-New Zealand for the second consecutive ICC white ball tournament. They matched up in the Champions Trophy. India came out on top of that almost a year ago. Almost a year ago, now. So yeah. I don't think this wasn't in my prediction anyway. I had South Africa, England, and we saw how wrong I was. But yeah, your assessment of the final and how you think both teams will be in terms of going ahead into things.
Well, I'm not giving predictions anymore. every time I give a prediction, I just end up with egg on my face, to be honest.
Yeah.
But, how it's going to end, how it will, how the final will conclude, I genuinely have no clue, because as I said, I didn't expect New Zealand to be in this situation.
Yeah.
And New Zealand are one of those teams where it's just like, they've obviously shown in this tournament where if you have an off day, they'll capitalise big time. But there's a lot of factors going into it, because what if Finn Allen and Tim Seifert have another one of those partnerships, or what if they get out early? We're not entirely sure. So I just really don't know. I really don't know. For India, it's going to depend on. It's going to depend on obviously Abhishek, not just on Abhishek and it will depend a lot on Samson and how he plays.
Yeah.
And how the bowling is and how the fielding is. Because if we have another fielding performance like we've had in just for the rest of the tournament, excluding the England game, we could concede over 240 easy. And then we probably might not win. So there's a lot of factors going into it. I'm obviously hoping India win, but will they? I really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the keys to victory for India, I mean, there is potential concerns on selection. I mean, we talked about Chakravarti, maybe Kuldeep coming in. Does Abhishek get dropped, and who comes in for him? Might be a bit risky because if Abhishek does get dropped, you might need to bring in Rinku Singh. But then is that too much overkill in the middle order and bringing everyone one up?
I don't think Abhishek's going to get dropped.
No, yeah.
I'm quite confident that Abhishek will stay in the team, even though he's not played well. I still think you back him. I wouldn't just change it all for a final.
Yeah,
but,
true.
As I said, the only player that I genuinely think is under pressure is Chakravarti, but that's only because someone like Kuldeep is back up. And I genuinely would consider bringing Kuldeep in. The only issue with that is Kuldeep's played one game all tournament in Sri Lanka, and he's having to be thrown into a final, which could be a problem. But Chakravarti right now, he just can't land. He just can't get a consistent line and length, and it's all well and good having all these variations, but if you can't land it on a good line and length, there's no point for a spinner. So that's going to be the key selection issue, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the changes when Sanju Samson was brought in, like how much India improved in all aspects. Yeah. So maybe Kuldeep coming in might be the change. And it's ironic because Chakravarti is a joint in terms of the highest wicket takers, but most of them wickets came in the group stages, and the economy rate is not the prettiest of readings.
He's probably joint for highest economy rates.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is a concern. And in terms of the matchups as well, as you mentioned, if an Allen or as I mentioned that semi-final, if an Allen or a Cypher, or even both, take things deep, and Chakravarti has to eventually come on and bowl, it could go south. And that's been the problem for India, is that sort of 4th, 5th bowler, because Dubey can't really be trusted. Yeah. Chakravarti isn't the best. So apart from Arshdeep, Bumrah, Hardik, maybe Aksar, who is going to step up in terms of, for the bowling, because you can't always rely on a Bumrah, an Arshdeep, or a Hardik to save you.
And also, what I will say is, I know he's not been in the best of form, but for some reason, Daryl Mitchell always seems to turn up against us. So again, that's just another reason why spin's going to be very important, because he's a very good player of spin. And again, I don't know what it is against us. I don't know if he has a problem with us or something, but it's always him where he scores big runs for us against us. So there's a lot of problems for India going into this final. There's a lot of worries for India going into this final. But as I said, if we play our best cricket like we did against England, we can beat anybody. We'll beat anybody. But will we play our best cricket? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the pitch, I don't think we'll see quite the same as we saw in Mumbai. But we did see South Africa in a chase beat the West Indies, and they scored at like similar rates to what New Zealand did against South Africa.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because Ahmedabad is like a black soil pitch compared to a red soil in Mumbai, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know if that dynamic will play different, or maybe who knows. So I just want to think. Does sort of the pitch come into things in terms of selection as well, or is that just go with your best team?
Well, that's our bogey ground. That's our bogey ground now.
Yeah.
I know obviously it was made as that. It was meant to be a stadium where all finals will be played, but we ain't won there. But yeah, of course, I think the pitch will probably determine some selection. But as I said, I'd say maybe more for New Zealand, but I don't think New Zealand really need to change their team either. They've just dominated the team that everyone thought was favourites.
True.
So the only real selection issue I'd say for both teams is just with India's spinner. That's it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really say anyone else is under threat.
What we'll say on the New Zealand front is, I don't know if they're a pacer short with just Matt Henry and Lockie Ferguson. I know Neesham's sort of that third pacer, but
Yeah.
Neesham he really hasn't been in the best of touch. And he's probably not the same Neesham as we've seen in the past. So the option is there: do you bring someone like a Jameson or a Duffy in, but risk losing that extra batter in Neesham to have that solid three paces, or do you just rely on the what's his name, McConkey, as sort of that all-round spinner with the likes of Ravindra Phillips as well? That's one issue I'd say for New Zealand.
Yeah, maybe. Again, the good advantage of someone like Jameson as well is always his like bounce that he gets, because obviously his height. But again, I just think to myself right now, for New Zealand, you don't need to change anything. You've just you just beat South Africa. You're the first team in the tournament to beat South Africa. You don't really need to, I'd say, change anything. So if I'm New Zealand, I'm not changing anything. But will they bring in an extra pacer? Maybe, but I don't think they will.
Yeah, I think how Matt Henry bowls as well up front. Like if he can bowl the way he did to like a Markram, like sort of just tuck him up. If he could do that to Sanju Samson, making him comfortable, but it's going to be difficult because the way Sanju Samson's playing. But I think that's the key. India's batting and New Zealand's bowling can sort of set up the game for both sides.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you saw the way McConkey bowled in that one over to Cock and Rickleton.
Yeah, and India with their left-handers.
Yeah, the fact that Abhishek struggled so much against spin early on, maybe not a bad shout to bring him to keep him in the team, and then just to see if he can get an early wicket again with Abhishek, because he's just not in. Again, he's just not in any form at all.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Matt Henry was actually injured, if you remember, in that warm-up in the Champions Trophy final, and that was sort of a big blow for New Zealand. So maybe he'll have a grudge and he'll want to come back. But on Abhishek, I mean, we saw Virat Kohli do it in 2024 in that final. I'm not saying he is Virat Kohli, by the way. I'm not saying he's up to that level yet.
Well, he's not going to play like that.
Is he due? Is he due a big innings? Is he due an innings at a rate that we know he can get at?
No,
Talk to me.
because he's not. Because he's not playing. He's not playing with any kind of confidence. But that's not the way he's getting out. That's no one else's fault but his own. Like the way he got out against England. And the thing is, what I admire about Sanju Samson, right? Sanju Samson doesn't slog. Sanju Samson doesn't go for it. Sanju Samson plays good cricket shots, and he plays sensibly. If he's hit a couple of boundaries, he'll then just get a single or something, rotate the strike. Abhishek hit 2 boundaries in that over off Will Jacks, and he knew that there was a big boundary and there was 2 fielders out in that area, and he still hit it in that area. That's no one else's fault but his own.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's gone out pretty much every single time to spin in the first over or two, you can't blame anyone else but himself for what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, the guy's not learning. It's that simple. And he's wasting his talent. He's wasted his talent in this tournament because he's more than capable of playing the kind of innings that Sanju Samson plays, where he plays sensibly. But he's just all out swinging at deliveries, missing them by about 8 meters. They bring spin on. He gets out every single time because. And then the one against England, it was the most needless shot ever, and he played it. So right now he's not deserving of any runs because he's getting out the same way over and over again. And he's not learning, and he's wasting his talent doing it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I think that the reason why he's not been dropped yet is he can, as you said, he can produce that sort of Sanju Samson-esque innings. And as we've mentioned already, I think the power play is going to be so important for both teams. Just sort of setting the tone as well. So, because if Abhishek goes early, and let's say Sanju Samson or Ishan Kishan don't really perform as they have been, that puts India under pressure. And
definitely.
And we saw India's middle order crumble when in that South Africa game, when South Africa took multiple wickets up front. If they face that situation again at the same ground, you never know. But that's the worst case scenario for India. But for New Zealand, can somebody step up apart from Allen and Cypher? I know you mentioned Darryl Mitchell already. Could it be a Glenn Phillips maybe? Could it be a Mark Chapman?
Well, we don't really know because we haven't really seen them in this tournament.
True.
We haven't really seen them perform in this tournament. Look, you know how good Glenn Phillips can be when he gets going. Rachin is a good player. We know that. For the times that I've seen Chapman for a little bit, he's been okay. And obviously we know how good Darryl Mitchell is, but we haven't seen that in this tournament at all.
Yeah.
What I'm worried about, probably most of all for New Zealand's bowling, is both Ravindra and Santner, because India have always struggled in the past against left-arm spinners. And that's going to be an issue. And because Santner's a very intelligent bowler as well. So that's going to be a real problem. But with the bat, we don't really know who can also be that impact player. They can all be impact players, but we just haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. In terms of the Indian batting order, I know we touched on Abhishek, but we saw how Dubé got promoted to number 4, and then Surya Kumar dropped down. Could we see that again, or like in the England game, is that just situation dependent, or will Surya Kumar say to Dubé, "Do you want go out on number 4? Maybe attack the spin of the likes of Ravindra, McConkey, and etc."
It will most likely be. I wouldn't be surprised if they do that again, purely because of the situation. Because New Zealand have 3 left-arm off-spinners in Ravindra, McConkey and Santner, and the ball will be spinning into Dubé. So if that kind of same situation happens as it did against England, where they go a couple of overs of spin, Dubé will come in up the order. Because he's the one player that you probably back most of all as a left-handed player as well against left-arm spinners.
Yeah, I think it's a really good strategy as well, because it sort of forces New Zealand to bring in a Lockie Ferguson or a Matt Henry earlier than they'd like to as well. So
yeah, exactly.
Who knows? But I know you say you don't want to do predictions, so I'll give my own first, and then if you want to chip in. I think the keys. I think if India are to win, I think it'll be tough on the pitch, but I think India should bat first. I think they can struggle more in a chase. Not to say they can't chase, but I do think the template is there for India, as in the England game, to bat first, just obviously pile on the runs, and then trust obviously the death bowling of Bumrah, Hardik, Ashdeep at the end, and hope Chakravarti doesn't concede 70 runs this time. I think that's the keys to victory, and I do think India just have that firepower over New Zealand. But not to say New Zealand will have that spirit and that sort of teamwork as they do.
Yeah,
they're a good fielding team as well, and that's why they're in this position. But I do just think India will have enough to overpower them and go back to back.
Yeah, I'm not like it's every single time we've done it, it's happened. Like in the Ashes series, I said England will win.
Oh yeah,
they lost 4-1 in the game that I thought Australia would win in the Ashes. England won, and then in the T20 World Cup, in the semi-final, we'd saying all this stuff about how New Zealand will probably get battered by South Africa. So New Zealand win. I don't think I can give predictions ever again on this, ever. Because no matter what I say, it will always go wrong. So I'm keeping my mouth shut. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just nature of cricket, isn't it? I mean, it's just so day to day. But I mean, for India, actually, it is actually their 4th consecutive ICC white ball tournament final. So the 23 ODI World Cup, 24 T20 where they won, 25 Champions Trophy. So they could create a hat trick in terms of white ball tournament. So I know you don't want to say a prediction, but in that aspect, India have become sort of Mr. Consistent in terms. And what was it like? 13-year drought that they had from the 2013 Champions Trophy to 2024 T20 World Cup. Yeah, so that 11-year drought.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to give credit to India to sort of like getting over the line in these key marquee events.
Yeah, 100%. I think the 2024 World Cup, the fact that we won it, I think that was just like the turnaround where it was kind of like, okay, look, the coaching and stuff, we can be critical of the coaches as much as we want, but the fact of the matter is we got to a final. We got to 2 finals under Gumbeard, and as much as, again, I may not rate him, we've got to 2 finals doing it. So he, as I said, I think the 2024 T20 World Cup, that was the turnaround where we started to just be more confident and be more fearless, especially in ICC tournaments, in the semi-finals and final.
Yeah, I think this 3 to 4 year stretch, it might be like one of the best Indian white ball teams we've seen. And that's evident with the trophies that back it up. And they have the chance to do that again on Sunday.
True.
But I think that will be that. The final, we'll give our reaction to that in the next episode. But thanks for tuning in to this episode. It's been myself and Dejan. Be sure to check out Sports News Blitz on YouTube and Spotify, and to check out our Sports News Blitz website. It's the T20 World Cup final on Sunday. Dejan will be clenching his fists, his fingers crossed. Toenails, nails will be bitten. I mean, we're in for a ride. Let's just say that.
Prayers will hopefully be answered.
Yeah, for Dejan's sake anyway. I mean, I know he doesn't want to give a prediction, but for his sake. I mean, I'm confident India will win, but I mean, let's see. But once again, thanks for listening and goodbye.